On January 15, 2009, US Airways Flight 1549 prepared for takeoff from LaGuardia Airport in New York City. It was a cold, clear Thursday afternoon. The flight was bound for Charlotte, North Carolina, with 150 passengers and 5 crew members on board. The aircraft, an Airbus A320, was piloted by Captain Chesley, Sully, Sullenberger, a 57-year-old with over 40 years of flight experience, including time as a U.S. Air Force fighter pilot. His first officer, Jeffrey Skiles, was highly experienced as well. At 3:25 p.m., Flight 1549 lifted off from LaGuardia's runway 4. Everything was normal, until 90 seconds later. As the plane climbed to just under 3,000 feet, it suddenly struck a flock of Canadian geese near the Bronx. There was a loud thud, followed by silence. Both engines lost thrust immediately. Passengers heard strange grinding sounds, then noticed the plane was eerily quiet. Sullenberger took control and quickly realized they had lost power in both engines, a rare and extremely dangerous event known as a dual-engine failure. The aircraft began gliding with no power, and the crew had less than 4 minutes to act. Sully and Skiles evaluated their options. They considered returning to LaGuardia. Air traffic controllers tried to guide them back. But Sully realized they wouldn't make it. They considered a small airport in New Jersey, Teterboro, but it was too far. With precious seconds slipping away, Captain Sullenberger made a daring decision. "We're gonna be in the Hudson." Sully guided the powerless jet toward the Hudson River, which cuts through the middle of New York City. He had never trained for this exact scenario, and no commercial pilot had ever successfully ditched a jetliner on water without fatalities. At 3:31 p.m., just 6 minutes after takeoff, Flight 1549 glided down and landed smoothly on the water. The plane skipped across the river like a stone and came to a stop near Midtown Manhattan. The landing was so perfect that the fuselage remained intact. But water began entering the aircraft immediately. Passengers rushed to evacuate. The crew opened emergency exits and deployed slides, which also functioned as life rafts. Dozens stood on the wings in the freezing January air, balancing as the plane slowly sank. Luckily, New York's harbor ferry system reacted within minutes. The first rescue boat arrived in under 4 minutes, pulling people to safety. Emergency responders, police, firefighters, and civilians worked together in the bitter cold. By 4 p.m., all 155 people were rescued, some injured, some hypothermic, but all alive. Captain Sullenberger was hailed as a national hero. He testified before Congress and emphasized teamwork, training, and preparation. He refused to take full credit, calling it a crew effort. The event became known as the Miracle on the Hudson. The NTSB, National Transportation Safety Board, later concluded that Sully made the only correct choice and that any attempt to return to an airport would have likely ended in catastrophe. The Airbus A320 was eventually recovered from the Hudson and is now on display at the Carolinas Aviation Museum in Charlotte, North Carolina. In 2016, the story was turned into a film titled Sully, starring Tom Hanks and directed by Clint Eastwood. The Miracle on the Hudson is more than a story of aviation, it's a story about calm under pressure, extraordinary professionalism, the value of experience, ordinary people rising to the occasion. It reminds us that in the darkest moments, heroes are often just people doing their job exceptionally well.